We're going to see something that happened. Oh, wow. Yeah, looks like it could be.
Wow.
Yeah! Yes! Yes!
The Bassmaster Elite Series is back-to-back to kick off the season this week. Okeechobee last week, St. John's River. An exciting event at St. John's River came down. Several anglers within a few ounces. Fun to watch. Bunch of different techniques going on. This week, we're asking ourselves, can Scott Martin exert his dominance on the field like he did last season in the Bassmaster Open? I guess we'll find out, and we'll dig in and see if the weather and the patterns will unlock to really match up for what Scott wants to do and how he'll attack Lake Okeechobee. Different backdrop today. This might be the first fantasy fishing video ever recorded from Mexico. Numbers are down a little bit on the Big O, but weights are up. Big fish are up. If you look at some of the Toyota Series, some of the other events that are on the Big O, there's been a lot of big fish caught. There's year classes of fish that are reaching that 10, 11 pounds that are showing up a lot. Pretty frequent for tournaments. So I expect some big weights. So not much time to waste. We got back-to-back. You got to get your picks in. You only got a couple days here, so we're going to try to get through this video, get your picks in. So as soon as you watch this video, make sure you lock in some picks so you don't forget and get off to a bad start this season. Speaking of bad starts, I've got a little bit of work to do. In the main fantasy fishing game, I got some work to do. It was a rough start. Day one was okay, and it got worse throughout the tournament. John Cox was my only good finish. Drain the lake, we're almost at the 90%. We're in the dark green, so we're doing okay there. Not a bad tournament there. Look forward to building onto this on Lake Okeechobee. And then in the pick'em game, we got 5 out of 7 right. So we're doing pretty good in that as well. So 2 out of the 3 ain't bad, right? Before we get into breaking down Lake Okeechobee and getting into picks, let's congratulate those that did well in the Beat HellaBass group. Congratulations, A. Yang. Fine event, 1,239 points. Winner of an Omnia Pro annual subscription. On the Drain the Lake side, BDA M. Molitor, congratulations as well. You also won an Omnia Pro subscription. So watch your emails closely. I'll be reaching out soon to get you awarded that. Thanks to Omnia Fishing, 2 players each week will win Omnia Pro memberships like this, plus year-end prizes. If you don't want to wait, you can use code HBPRO to get 50% off right now, which will get you all the benefits of Omnia Pro, the map layers, 10% back on all your purchases, no minimum order on free shipping, and so much more. It pays for itself in quite a bit of a hurry if you just buy a few things from Omnia Fishing. Plus, it stacks with the discount code down in the description below that you can find for Omnia Fishing and use whenever you'd like for whatever you want to buy, fishing rods, reels, tackle, and so much more. If you want to join the Beat HellaBass group, check down below for the group info and password in the video description below. Speaking of Omnia, let's use some of their features and get an inside look at the Big O and picks for this week. Head on down to Florida. Lake Okeechobee, definitely one of the favorite lakes down here. Definitely a few things I want to check out here. First thing, I want to take a peek, and I think anytime somebody goes to a new body of water, this is a really good thing, is check out the fishing reports. Look at a bunch of them here. So we can sort by species and season. So spring is the current season. What we'll see is a lot of January and February reports. It's soft plastics, it's Texas rigs, it's shallow grass, stickworms, jigs, no real big surprises here. But it confirms some of the baits and tactics and things that we want to see and some of the anglers that we want to attack. It's great for scouting out lakes when you're going to fish new bodies of water for the first time as well, and know what to pack, what to bring, how to get ready. You can definitely open up and read these fishing reports in more detail as well. Explore the full map here. Zoom in on Okeechobee. New thing they have is the AI Insights. We'll check it out in a second. But definitely when you know anything about Okeechobee, you definitely want to look at, first thing, especially in the spring, what I'm going to look at is what are the water temps? And so we'll see here, most of the lake is mid to upper 60s to lower 70s. That tells me and confirms that the spawning activity that we saw going on at the St. John's is only going to continue into this week, and that should be a major player and should be a lot of fish shallow, whether they're actually sight fishing for them or blind fishing. That'll be a major factor. The other thing you want to consider is wind. And you can look at the wind forecast and look at the weather forecast. And this is more of a tool the anglers will probably use real time during the event to kind of plan out where they can get out of the wind, where their water will stay clear, and things like that. Stack that. The other important thing here is, bottom hardness is a thing, but vegetation is really important. Now, vegetation has really taken a bit of a hit. So the CMAP information here does give us some up-to-date information where some of this vegetation still exists. So this will be really good information for anglers. I could definitely see using this as a scouting tool to narrow down where we would want to look, as well as the water clarity. And I think you'll notice here that the water clarity definitely coincides with where the vegetation is, and that's no surprise. That is a natural filter for the lake, and that is probably some of the places we're going to see a lot of these anglers grouped up. So being able to zoom in and look at some of these areas and look for that cleaner water is definitely a bonus on Lake Okeechobee. I think, the omni anglers like Bob Downey, Easton Fothergill, Patrick Walters will be very wise to this tool, and I'm sure there's plenty of other anglers that understand the importance of clean water at Okeechobee and how a tool like this can be very powerful. We turn on the AI insights. There's some green highlighted areas that the AI, based on fishing reports, water clarity, and a whole lot of other things, are pointing to, and it really tends to line up with where that clean water is and the vegetation. So that's no surprise. Let's dig into the picks and let's get my season back on track. Let's touch on the picks. The pick'em game first. I'm going to go Brandon Cobb. It seems like Brandon Polnick pretty much only does well at the St. Johns River in Florida. So I'm going to go Brandon Cobb, and Brandon Cobb had a good event here last time. Cooper Gallant did really well here last time. I think he had a top 10 or pretty close to it, and he fished well in the crowds. Gerald Swindle and Jordan Lee, the Bama Bash. That's a tough one. I'm going to lean Gerald Swindle. He's feeling good. He's fishing good. He did well at the St. John's. He had a good tournament last time they were at Okeechobee. Jordan Lee was still on the BPT. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go G-Man this week. War of the Titans, Martin versus Hackney. It's hard not. I mean, Hackney, really good, strong record. Okeechobee definitely fits his strengths. It's Scott Martin's home water. We're going to double down and go Scott Martin as well. Swimbait Showdown, Zaldane for Kennedy. I don't think swimbaits are going to play this week. Kennedy almost won this event. I think he finished second or third last time throwing a frog. Kennedy did not have a good St. Johns River. This matches up well for him. I don't really like picking Kennedy in my traditional fantasy fishing game, so I thought, hey, let's pick him here, a little less risk. Open versus Hopin. Bill Lowen coming off a major win. Congratulations to Bill Lowen. Awesome to see him get his second Elite Series win. Versus Tucker Smith. Tucker Smith might scope. I think he's got a lot of tricks in his bag, and Tucker Smith had a pretty good tournament. I think Bill Lowen will have a decent tournament, but I think Tucker Smith's going to be a little stronger. Tucker Smith almost won this tournament, the Bassmaster Open that Scott Martin won. And then Robertson versus Fighter. I think Seth is in a better headspace. He's coming off a strong St. John's tournament. Matt Robertson had one really bad day, one pretty good day. I just trust Seth Fighter a little more right now, and that's why I'm going to pick him in the pick'em game. Traditional fantasy fishing, get to the buckets. As you can see, we only have just over 2 days to get our picks in. We'll start in bucket E like we normally do. Percentages are loaded. You can see Hackney and Kennedy getting a lot of love here. Trey McKinney, ROI, or Rookie of the Year last year, AOI, runner-up, getting a lot of love. Some interesting picks in here. JT Tompkins, Kyle Patrick, some strong anglers did really well last year, off to a tough start this year. I don't think you can go wrong with Hackney. Kennedy's always a spicy proposition in fantasy fishing, in my opinion. Trey McKinney, I don't expect him to stay in bucket E very long, but I'm going with Minnesota guy Easton Fothergill. He had a top 7 here last time in the Bassmaster Open. I think he'll rebound. I don't think the Tides and the St. John's threw him for a loop, but I think he'll lock it in here for Lake Okeechobee. Moving on to bucket D, Cobb, sight fishing. Probably a good pick. Tyler Event, the defending champ last Master 2 years ago. He won the Elite Series event here. Milliken, a big name in here. Robertson, some anglers with a lot of talent. Wesley Gore, super high in AOI last year. A lot of anglers to consider here that could do well. But I'm going to go Kyle Welcher. Not a great St. Johns River event. I think this fits him well. He almost had a top 10 here last time. Froggen, Braid, Swim Drigs. I got a feeling Kyle Welcher gets back on the wagon here and has a good event. Bucket C. You got some sight fishing guys. Drew Cook, Drew Benton in here. That's important to consider. Eber, talented angler, Cooper Gallant. There's quite a few anglers that really understand Florida. Brandon Lester, kind of sneaky if you're looking for somebody low percentage here. Porosnik. There's some Caleb Summerall, Bo Browning, top 10, the Okeechobee Open. Paul Marks, top 10, the Okeechobee Open. A lot of potential good picks in C, but it's really hard not to go with the group. And I'm going to go chalk, and I'm taking Scott Martin on his home lake this week. It didn't work well in Livesey Fork, but when it goes down, you look dumb when you don't pick them. So we had a rough start. We're going to take a little chalk. Bucket B, Jason Christie, Bernie Schultz being a Florida guy, he actually did really well at St. John's River, and he doesn't have a great track record there. So maybe he's got some things figured out, having a good year. I would avoid Polinick. Logan Tuso, I think, was fourth place his very first event ever in the Elite Series in Okeechobee. He's got a really strong track record in Florida. He has a bunch of top 10, 20 finishes in Florida. So that would be a sneaky good pick. And Logan Latuso. Will Davis Jr. did well here, throwing a swim jig last time. Brian Schmidt obviously understands grass. Emil Wagner had a top 10 in the Bassmaster Open. Luke Palmer, expect him to do well here. But I'm going to go Tucker Smith. He almost won the Bassmaster Open. Young gun. We picked him in the pick'em game. We're going to pick him here. Finally, moving on to bucket A. John Cox getting the limelight. Florida guy, he probably should. Jay Shakurit almost won an event in Florida last week. You got both the Johnson brothers, Gerald Swindle. These are all the anglers that caught him last week. Seth Fighter, John Garrett, Mosley. Look for him to have a good event. Bill Lowen just won a tournament. Powerhouse Lithium guy Kyle Norsetter, putting 2 back-to-back good seasons in a row so far. But I'm going to go with Patrick Walters. You got the short shorts. The sun's out. We're going to have good weather. Look for Walters to rock him this week. I fully expect Walters to be leading the AOI coming out of the Florida swing this year. Let's pop over to Drain the Lake and talk tiebreaker weight. So in alphabetical order, like many of you have requested, Bo Browning, Will Davis Jr., Stephen Kennedy, Brandon Lester, Paul Marks, Scott Martin, Tucker Smith, and Brad Watley. Most of these anglers we talked about during the pick'em, during the buckets. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why these anglers can be really strong picks here. Tiebreaker weight, I'm looking for almost 100 pounds, but not quite. So I'm going 96.7. I think they are going to smash them. There's going to be some anglers that struggle, but I think we will see some high 20, low 30-pound bags this week and possibly a 10-pound big bass in this event. If you enjoyed this fantasy fishing preview from Mexico and you want to learn more about the prizes and the structure and everything about Beat HellaBass, check this video on the screen right here next.